My name is Brian Matias and I'd like to welcome you to my first photography Q&A video. I get emails quite often from people all around the world and they're asking questions about photography and creativity and how to improve their own craft. So I thought it'd be fun to take one question per video and share my thoughts around it. Our first question comes from Anastasios and he wrote me and asked, how important is it to have a very good or professional camera in order to make a good photo? When I visited the local zoo last Sunday, I felt inferior to a fellow photographer who was equipped with a Canon EOS 5D and a 300mm lens. My Sony NEX seemed so small and toy-like, and this was not the first time feeling like a lesser photographer. Since everyone's talking about how important and superior a full-frame sensor is, I get the feeling that I'm using a second-rate sensor. That's a really good question, and I'm sure it's one that a lot of people have asked. It's a concern that a lot of photographers have, especially since we have cameras coming out all the time. New cameras, bigger sensors, faster lenses. And it's hard to think that maybe the camera that I have, is it something, am I becoming less of a photographer because I don't have something better or bigger? And to be fair, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say, listen, I work with Sony and with Zeiss directly. I'm an ambassador for both of them. And for me, I would never say that I don't love gear or gear is not important, because it is important. But it's important to have the right gear for the right job. For example, there are definitely situations where specific gear will be beneficial. A wide, fast lens would be great if you're doing star photography at night. Or a tilt shift lens. Super important if you want to do architecture work or commercial architecture work. It's just one of those things. Having the right gear is important for the right job. But that's not to say that the gear makes the photographer. You need the right gear for a specific task or photo or job, but I would never say that, oh, if you don't have this full frame sensor in your camera, you're a lesser photographer. I don't know anyone who would say that. And to be totally honest, some of my favorite photos that I've taken have been with smaller cameras. I took this photo, one of my first photos when I landed in Havana, Cuba, was taken with this camera, which is a Sony RX100 Mark IV. Small little camera, 1-inch sensor. I love the photos that it creates. I've taken photos with the A6300 and the A6000, which is the predecessor. This is an APS-C cropped sensor. I love the photos that I get with this too. The size of the camera is not as important for me. I mean, sure, there are benefits to a full frame camera when you know that you need it. If you're going to be, say you're going to be cropping a ton, yeah, maybe having a full frame sensor would be good, although this has a fantastic 24 megapixel sensor too. All the cameras in the market right now are very capable of taking amazing photos. And get this, all right, just to kind of wrap this up in an ironclad example. The winner of the 2015 National Geographic Traveler Award for Photography. He won it with a photo taken underwater. And do you know what camera he took to take that photo? This one. Except not this one. The original Sony RX100. This is the 4th generation. So when I hear someone who is concerned or they feel like their photography can't possibly reach a certain level as others because of the camera that they have, that's a bummer, and that's something that I cannot tell you enough. I cannot emphasize it strongly enough, that it's not the gear. Overall, big picture, again, there is gear that's important. Hey, if you want to go shoot underwater, I wouldn't tell you that your underwater housing is immaterial. You're going to need a good housing. And again, if you want to shoot stars, you need a wide lens and ideally a fast lens. But that doesn't mean that you can't go and do it. I don't have the fastest lens. I didn't always have the fastest gear, but I never ever use that as an excuse to not try something out. My recommendation is this, if I can just boil it down. Test yourself. Learn the limits of your gear. Get to the point with your camera where, you know what, in your heart of hearts, you know that you cannot possibly get this photo that's in your mind because you're constrained by the camera. And when that happens, then start considering maybe upgrading. But don't say that the camera is going to make you a better photographer. And finally, if you're paying attention to what other people are shooting with and trying to keep up with the Joneses, if your focus is on what's that camera over there, that means that your focus is not on getting the best possible picture in front of you. And that is ultimately why you're out there with your camera, to take photos, right? You want to get the best possible photo. So forget about all that static that's out there about the gear. Again, I'm not saying that gear is not important. It is. But you should never use that as an excuse to feel like a lesser photographer. In fact, there is no reason why you should ever feel like a lesser photographer. Everyone's growing. I'm growing, you're growing. We're all always going to be growing. We're all going to try different things. There's always going to be someone who may take a better photo. That doesn't make them a better photographer. The gear definitely doesn't make them a better photographer. So just put that out of your mind and focus as much of your effort as you can on simply appreciating photography, learning to tell what your creative vision looks like, and make the most out of the gear that you have. And when you think that the gear that you have just finally you've reached a wall with it, then go ahead and try something new. But one more time, do not think that the gear will make you a better photographer. That's only going to come with practice and with dedication. Again, thank you, Anastasios, for the question. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for our next video Q&A. Bye-bye.